Check. All right, boys and girls, welcome back to LewDix Aviation, and today I'm going to be talking to you about a flight training subject, check rides, giving you some check ride tips on what to do to prepare for a check ride, whether it's private, instrument, commercial, whatever check ride you're going to do. This applies for absolutely everything. If you don't know me and are new to LewDix Aviation, my name is Lewis. I'm a flight instructor, have been one since 2016, have sent many students for check rides, have taken many check rides myself. Private, instrument, commercial, CFI, CFII, multi, Saab 340 type rating, ATR type rating. So that's 8 check rides there. I've taken multiple proficiency checks and also line checks as well at airlines. So I have experience with talking about this subject of check rides, and it's a big thing for students, especially going into the first ever check ride for the private pilot. It's a scary time. You don't know what to expect. So hopefully this video today is going to help calm some check ride nerves, maybe. All the students that I've ever sent for a check ride has passed that check ride. Now, I did have one student way back that failed the flight portion.
You're joking.
You're disappointed, and I am too. Cat's out the bag. He's a terrible instructor. Get rid of him. Thanks for watching. And I'll tell you, that failure of that student devastated me. He was ready to go, passed his oral with flying colours, and the DP came back, and it was actually the same DP that did many of my check rides. Actually, he told me the oral was great. He got into the plane and he completely forgot how to fly. And the reason that I've exposed myself is exactly for that example, forgetting how to fly. You do really well in the training, you get into the check ride and completely forget how to fly because nerves take a hold of you. So what I'm trying to do with this video is maybe, hopefully, if I can help one person with this video get through a check ride and help calm the nerves, then I will have done my job here. Anyway, I've got kind of different topics that I want to talk about for this video, and the first one is studying. What I recommend for studying, how to study for a check ride: get an oral exam guide, much like this one here. This particular one's for the commercial. It's not in date anymore. However, this is what I used for each check ride. I used one of these books. These books are fantastic. They include a ton of information, questions. Pages fly out at you, it's that interesting, and a ton of answers to the questions, and these go in detail. Take an example. Let's pick an easy one. What are the required tests and inspections for aircraft and equipment to be legal for both VFR and IFR flights? Annual inspection, airworthiness directives, VOR check, 100-hour inspection, altimeter, transponder, emergency locator, transmitter. It's all there for you, and it puts it out, lays it out in it with a nice little acronym, Aviate, which is the one that I've used since I started training. Yeah, these books are really good. They're really good study guides. Another thing that I recommend is if you have a friend that's also in flight training or has been through flight training, or even can sit there on the other side of a table with this book and ask you questions and grill you with all these questions, that is going to help you so much. I used to sit with my friend Otto, and we would ask each other questions all the time. And I'll tell you, it really helped. Another great piece of advice, especially in this day and age, you're watching me on a video now, watch videos. There are so many videos online now for oral exam prep that back when I was doing it back in my day, I didn't have the plethora of videos that are available now. But the one that I did use was this.
Bill, I have reviewed your logbook and reviewed all of your application forms, and I've determined that you do meet all the requirements.
The engine log and the airframe log for this aircraft, which we've done here.
And it was definitely helpful. So yeah, watch some videos. This kind of goes with studying. Stay proficient with your flying. Flying is a proficiency-based thing. The skills, if you don't use them, deteriorate quickly. So if you've got a little wait between, while you're studying and until you check ride, keep flying and hold yourself to high standards. Moving on to my next section that I've got, on the day, what to do on the day. First thing, most importantly, eat something, drink something, take care of your bodily needs before anything else, because you need to have a sharp mind. And I'll never ever forget this. My instructor that signed me off for my private pilot check ride showed me how much he cared about me and my progress and me getting through that check ride by texting me as I was on the way to the airport on the day. He said, "Have you eaten anything?" I said, "No, I'm not really a breakfast guy." And he arrives at the flight school with an Egg McMuffin, which is not the healthiest, let's be honest, but I'm really glad he did that because I scoffed it down. I really appreciate that, and I never ever forgot it. And that went a long way to showing me how a flight instructor should be with their students. They should care for the students. Not everybody wants to be a flight instructor. Even people that are flight instructors, not all of them want to be flight instructors. But while you're doing it, I think you've got to care about your students. Arrive early and set up the room. Make a really good impression. I always, on my check rides and for my students' check rides, I always lay everything out on the table, lay all my books, fire aim, iPads out on the table, or any textbooks that you want to bring in, take them in. Documents, aircraft documents, your ARO documents, your inspection documents as well, to show that the aircraft is airworthy, because I'll tell you something, there is nothing more embarrassing than not being able to prove that your aircraft is airworthy and not being able to do that exam. That's not making a good impression. So yeah, having everything set out neatly on the table. If they want to take their extortionate fee for the check ride in cash, have that in a little envelope, nice and discreet, and yeah, make that good impression. Also, dress comfortably. I'm not a massive fan of flight schools making students wear uniforms and stripes on the shoulders. I really detest it, honestly. I can't stand it. But for you know, if you have to wear that stuff, that's already, you know, dressing presentably. Is it comfortable? Not so sure, but at least you look good, you know. Part 61, and you don't really have a dress code, like my students don't have a dress code. Dress nicely. It's not over the top. It's not like you're going for a business meeting. You're flying an aeroplane, and especially, you know, somewhere hot like in Florida, you want to dress really comfortably, because if it's in the height of summer and you're in that sweat box just dripping, dress comfortably. There's going to be a time at the beginning of the check ride where the examiner is going to go through paperwork. Engage with the examiner. Have conversations. The DPs that I've used have usually engaged with students and tried to open conversations and making things normal, because at the end of the day, these are people. They put the trousers on one leg at a time, just like everybody else. Make it human, not awkward. That's a good line. Now, the oral exam can be stressful. When you're actually in it, I think it's a lot less stressful than you make it out to be. It's a casual conversation between pilots. That's all it is. That's what I tell everybody that goes into a check ride. It's a casual conversation between two pilots. It's not, you know, if, like I said, if you're sat in a restaurant and you've got your friend grilling you on this, question after question after question, it's not really like that on the actual oral exam. It's talking about things from a practical standpoint. The DP is there to assess you as a pilot, not your quizzing skills, if that makes sense. What would you do if this happened? Oh, okay, so you said that. Well, what about this? And it's a conversation. It'll lead, one thing will lead into another, and you'll be in there with your trousers down. No, just yeah, that's a joke. That's a joke. Don't rush your answers. If you need to ask for clarification, ask for clarification. Again, everyone in that room is a human being. If you don't understand something, you can ask for clarification. I'm not really too sure what you mean by that question. So the DP will then go back and try and ask it in a way that makes more sense. That's absolutely fine. There's no problem with that. Don't feel like you have to sprout off an answer when you don't understand the question. What I used to do is I used to have a notepad out. I think I started this on my instrument. The DP would ask me something. For example, again, going back to the inspections. If I need to remember what the inspections are and I need to write down an acronym, I've got the notepad. Here's the big one. If the question is a yes or no question, answer yes or no and shut up. People want to show their knowledge. Show only as much as you need to show. Don't dig yourself a hole, because trust me, DPs, if you lead them down the hole, they will go down the hole. Schedule. Little pre-flight section here. Have your checklist in hand for the pre-flight. I don't care if you know that checklist by heart. I don't care if you've got a flow. Have the checklist out for the DP to see that you use checklists. Checklists are hugely important. And I know, yes, I do sell checklists. So I know you're saying, Lewis, you would say that because you want us to buy a LewDix Aviation checklist. And trust me, I do want you to buy a LewDix Aviation checklist, because this is the best checklist you'll ever use. I made them with a flow that makes sense for every single one of them. It's nice to look at and fun to use, and also sturdy. So get yourself a LewDix Aviation checklist, lewdixaviation.com. But that's not why I'm saying that. Checklists are hugely important for flying in general, not just for check rides. It's not just for show. Use a checklist. Do your normal stuff, but have the checklist. I was watching a TikTok video where somebody was talking about the private pilot check ride experience, said they got through the oral and got onto the pre-flight. The DP was asking them questions about systems, about components on the plane. Apparently they failed the check ride because they didn't know the components and the systems of the aircraft. So that's really important. If you are out there with your instructor in the training up to before you check ride, ask your instructor to ask you questions. What's this antenna for? What does this do? Doing your training on a Piper Warrior or something where you can open up the engine, open up that compartment, point at something and say, okay, this is the magneto, this is the oil filter. Also, you know, max baggage weight, what's the maximum amount of fuel, what colour's the fuel, how much oil, what's the minimum oil, things like that. That's really going to go a long way to showing that you know the aircraft. For the taxi, brief it. Make sure you're briefing it. Make sure that DPE knows everything that you're doing on that flight. It doesn't just go for the taxi. Everything that you're doing. Brief the taxi, brief the takeoff, and kind of verbalize what you're doing. I used to say what I'm doing as I'm doing it, basically, like as if I'm talking to myself. Like I block out the examiners there, and I talk to myself, okay, so here we go. I'm going to do this. When you're crossing an intersection, okay, look left, look center, look right, clear, clear, clear. Let the DPE know what you're going to do. The quieter that DPE is, the better that check ride's going to go. If you can keep them quiet, let them know what you're doing. Got to remember, they don't know how you fly. They're there to assess. So the more that they know, the more that they're going to be relaxed and let you just get on with it. Flying wise, the ACS, Airman Certification Standards, is the Bible. Know all of the maneuvers, all of the tolerances for all the maneuvers that you're going to do. That's the standards that you have to show to the examiner. He's not got some secret book of secret standards that he's holding you to. It's all published. You know what is required of you for passing that test. So the Airman Certification Standards. Nobody's perfect. If you're slightly off from an altitude, don't be content with staying off your altitude. Get it back. We are not perfect. Conditions won't be perfect. If you're off, get back on that altitude. Even if you go outside of tolerances, take it straight back immediately to where you want to be. It shows that you know what's going on. You know that you made a mistake, or maybe you didn't make a mistake. Maybe it was massive updraft that took you off your altitude. But get it back. Shows you know what's going on and shows you know where you should be. Here's a big one as well. The last one. The check ride is not over until the aircraft is parked and secured. Until that engine is off and you have tied down, you've finished that last item on that parking and securing checklist. Tie downs apply. Until the tie downs have been applied at the end of this checklist, you are still being tested. Don't mistake the fact that you've done so well throughout the whole flight portion and you land, you get off the runway, you're holding short of the taxiway. Do not let your guard down. There you go. There's my tips. Hopefully you've taken something from that. Those are the things that I had written down. There's probably so much more to speak about, which maybe I've missed something. If there's more advice that you have for people taking check rides, let me know in the comments. I would love to start the conversation down there. Let me know what else you want to hear me talk about. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave it a like. That helps me out greatly. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Not about that, but if you want to get yourself a LewDix Aviation checklist, you will not regret it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.